Hey everybody, Palm Springs Cindy. I am going out tonight with some girlfriends. We're going to a place called the Red Barn. I've never been there. I may have been there one time a while ago, but I'm not sure it was the Red Barn. Anyway, we're meeting here at Terry's house at 7. Well, I thought it was like 7:03, so I'm dashing out of my house. Well, come to find out, I got in my car, and my clock, it was only 6:36. So it takes me about 2 minutes to drive here. So I thought, well, instead of going back in the house and riling Poppy up again, because she gets sad when I leave, and then I walk back in, and then she's confused. So I thought, I'm just going to go to Terry's. I'll sit outside and wait for some of the other gals to arrive. And while I'm doing that, I'll say hello to my YouTubers. Now, I'm holding the phone the wrong way, but it's too hard for me. It's too hard for me to hold it landscape. So I'm just holding it the normal, what is that? The normal latitude way. So, okay, what have I been doing? Let's see here. The other day I went to, I got my nails done. I had a manicure, I had a pedicure, and I had my brows waxed and this area waxed. And I went to where I usually go, and because it's summer here in the desert, places are not crowded. You know, people are gone. They don't stay in the desert heat. Our snowbirds are gone. So I walked in, got right in, and my nails had grown out, and I'm not kidding you guys, probably halfway through my regular nail. But because my nail polish was almost like a clear, you couldn't really tell, so I got away with it. Well, my nails actually started feeling heavy. Get your nails done. I went to pay, it was like $168. I was livid. I said, could you break that down for me? And so they go, yeah, $50 for a fill. My nails were perfect. It was nothing to fill. I mean, I had a fill, but it wasn't like I had cracked nails and had to replace them or anything like that. And then I have my extra 10 minutes on but I get the least expensive pedicure. See, I forgot that word. I couldn't think of that word, pedicure. That scares me. And then I had a full wax, brows, upper lip, and chin. So I said, I agreed to everything except I was taken aback by the fill. And I said, you charge $50 for a fill? And she said, yes. And she says, and you had a broken nail. And I said, I did not have a broken nail. So she said, oh, $45. So I'm glad I asked that. Then, of course, you have to tip. Okay. But then I tried to, you guys know, I tried to not get my nails done, the acrylics put on, and it's just, I went for like 9 months. It was a nightmare. I have to do it. So then another thing that happened to me that drove me crazy, I was in my den, my sweet little den. You guys, I had pictures of it in my last video. Well, once again, Poppy had gone to the bathroom twice. Well, actually 3 times. So I've got to gate that off now again. So I had to take all the furniture out. I get my carpet shampooer out, and I did a spot treatment, and then I cleaned it. And then I kind of let it dry a little bit, spot treated it again, let that kind of sink in. I kind of took my fingers and wiped it into the carpet. It's a rug. And then I re-shampooed, because it's very hard to get that dog odor out. And I want to get that out. And I think I did. And the bad news is that is a very expensive rug that I have in there. I really bought it for my living room, but it's white and it's beautiful, and the white is just too impractical. So I put it in my den. Well, every time you shampoo a beautiful thick rug like that, it pulls out a lot of the dander in it, or the fibers, and then it gets wimpy looking. So, I paid too much for it, and it's hardly walked on except for Poppy's business. So when I had to go out in the garage and get the gate out and wash that off. And so anyway, I've got that. Oh, she just cried because I went in the den and I was doing my business, and the gate was up. She couldn't get in, and that's her favorite place to go. She just loves to lay on the couch and look out the window, but she's not going to be able to. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll put a potty pad in there. But then I think it gives her mixed signals. Like, it's okay. It's okay to pee in here. It's not okay. So I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm getting hot, and I'm going to hang up. We're all going in one car, so there's probably going to be 3, 4, 5 of us, 3 in the back seat. I said I would take an Uber if needed. I'm definitely not driving because I know I'll have a drink. And I think there's dancing, and I guess the girls went, I'm going to say maybe last week or not too long ago, and had a blast. So they were like, we want to go back. And I hadn't gone. So anyway, they said, we're going again. Do you want to go? And I was like, yes. So that's good. Okay. And then I did take video of it, but the other night when I played canasta, the gal served, you're not going to believe, she makes her own guacamole, which is chunky, and it has fresh tomatoes, good scallion onions in it, lots of cilantro. Oh my gosh, it's so fresh and good. And then I'm looking because I think one of the girls is driving up. And she makes her own tortilla chips. So that was, of course, that's right up my alley. So she made pork ribs out on her patio, on the grill on her patio. This was the casserole of twice baked potatoes. The ribs, so good. We got to bring some home with us. And this was the zucchini vegetable dish. Delicious. And there was my plate. I had to share it with you guys. She made twice baked potatoes, and she also made this casserole of zucchini. It was delicious. It was zucchini stuffed with cheese and this red sauce and onions. It was great. And so, and then she was apologizing because she didn't have dessert, or a fancy dessert, I should say. So it was, we had this great dinner. In fact, and then she said, I made plenty so you girls can take some home. And she put it in baggies. So we each got 3 ribs and a potato and some zucchini. So that was fun. Mine's still in the refrigerator. I'm mouth watering. Okay, you guys, I'm going to hang up for now and go in the house. I'll see you later. Hey everybody, Palm Springs Cindy. I recently watched this video by a woman named Rita Wilkins. The title of the video, it was on YouTube, was Baby Boom Downsizing. And it was a very good video in that her narrative was very well organized, and everything that she said really hit home with me, because when I got divorced, we had lived in our home. I call it my big house. We had lived in the big house for 34 years. So there was a lot in that house to be dealt with. And one of my big goals was to downsize, to really, I hate to say get rid of, but basically, yes, to get rid of things of the past, things that no longer served my life, and not just get rid of things, but, give them to people that wanted them, or maybe, revamp them or think about a new way of using some of the things. But the Rita Wilkins did a very good job at explaining downsizing and for baby boomers, because let's face it, when you're like 60 and older, we are downsizing. Our children, we're empty nesters, we're retired. Many of us, our parents have passed. And so it is time to sort of make our lives and our footprint a bit smaller. Now, as much as I enjoyed her video, I'm just going to talk about what she said that resonated with me. And I kind of, I wanted to sort of put my thoughts in order. If I'm going to wait to do that, I'll never get this video up. So I did make notes, and I'm going to talk through my notes and add to my notes the ahas that really spoke and landed on me. Because I think if it was something that landed with me, it's something that's going to land with you. Now, if you have not downsized and are thinking about it, this is a great video for you to watch. And if you already have downsized like I have, it's still a great video for you to watch, because it's going to validate a lot of what you've already been through. One of the things that Rita Wilkins mentioned was that it's a time, when we declutter, it's a time for us to shrink what we have created. And I know for myself, my husband and I, when we were newly married and younger, whatever, we had a plan, a life that we had imagined that we were going to work for and create together, which we did. But after 34 years and 43 years of marriage and time to move on, it was a time to shrink what we had already created. We didn't need that big house anymore. We didn't need so many of the items that we had collected over the years. One of the things that she mentions is to mentally plan before you start. And I know that is what I did. I knew that our divorce was approaching. I knew that it was time to start going through things. And I had to mentally plan, what about the attic? What about this closet? What about that closet? What about the whole bookshelf thing? What about all our old photographs? What about all the junk drawers? There's so many what abouts, but in my mind, I kind of started planning. She talks about have no guilt, let things go, and not everyone is going to agree with your decisions on what you're going to do with your personal inventory. And I know for me, part of my purging and decluttering, it was very emotional, but I also wanted to get rid of certain items in my house, in my life, that were connected to my marriage in some way. And it was very important for me to erase those kinds of things so that I could really start over. Get rid of the kids' projects, appliance gadgets. I wrote down here, we had a bar, and underneath our bar, it was a wet bar, underneath the bar, we had so many old bottles of booze that people had given us as gifts, when they come over for a party or a Christmas holiday or whatever. Who knows how old some of these bottles were, but because they were full and because they still had a ribbon around the neck, I just kept pushing and shoving these old alcohol bottles to the back of the bar. And so it was time to clean out the booze, get rid of the holiday decor. I know through the years, I had gone to these darling Christmas parties where women throughout the year hand-make Christmas ornaments, and then before Christmas they have open houses and they invite the public to come in, and I bought so many precious items to display around my home, to put on the patio. outdoor ornaments, indoor ornaments, and it was time to let that go. I had a lot of baby stuff. I still had my daughter's old baby clothes, and they were old and frankly pretty yucky. So, I'm not going to be a grandmother, so it really was time to let those baby items go. Now, of course, I did this not all the time, but I did talk to my daughter about what I was wanting to let go. Do you want it? Do you not want it? And so on. So I did have some input. I do have, and this is very sentimental. What do you do with all those pictures? Pictures from when I was still single, when Dana and I were dating, pictures of family members who no longer are with us, pictures from my daughter, and not just pictures, but doubles and triplets, copies of the pictures. So what I spent a long time going through our photos, our old yearbooks, our old scrapbooks, all those, not just mine, but after my parents passed away, my siblings and I got our hands on their scrapbooks and their photo albums, and we divvied those up among us. So I had a lot of memorabilia to go through, and I did. Through the years, I had taken many of those pictures and turned them into DVDs, but I still had a lot to look at. So I just picked out the very best. I didn't need 2 copies of everything, and I still have I still have a fair amount of photos. But, it's very melancholy when you're divorcing and you go through all those old pictures and you all the memories and things, the vacations, the holidays. Let's see. And also there's a lot of government papers to go through. There are stupid things like warranties for that washer and dryer that you no longer have, or that refrigerator that you got rid of years ago. But there are still, old tax forms and deeds and things like that's kind of like, ooh, do I dare throw this away? But yes, I got rid of a lot of that. So, we didn't need tax W-2 forms from 20 years ago. So, I got rid of all that. And then she mentions, live with only what matters to me. Function and comfort for me today. Not something from 20 years ago. What makes me feel like me, even if it's quirky. So let me talk about that a little bit. Live with only what matters to me. So, I can't tell you how many blankets, old towels, sheets, mismatched sheets, things that I would save for, when we would go camping, let's say, and I'd want the grungy sheets, or I'd want to take the old towels. And what about the towels to clean up this, or dry the car off, or whatever, when you wash the car. So I had, a whole linen closet of those kinds of linens. And it was time to go through those and get rid of them, which I did. Well, I didn't just throw them away. I gave them, I took the towels to the dog, not the dog pound, but like the animal shelter. And a lot of the sheets, if they weren't totally corroded, I folded those up, and I took, tons of stuff to Goodwill. And I came to my new house with I took the good sheets and the good blanket. So, but I did buy pretty much all new stuff. And she mentions to just take what makes you, take what you like, what makes you feel you, even if it's quirky. So I took some little artsy things that are quirky, but I love them. And I have fond memories of them, like where I bought them and what holiday we were at when I bought it. And so, and it may be silly, but even like a coffee cup I took. That was my favorite coffee cup. And, things like that. My favorite soup spoon. Favorite dish towel. I had some dish towels that are real thirsty and they're good ones, and I made sure I got those. Keep 4 comfort items. It stays if it makes me happy, and you get to keep 4 of those. So, that might have been a favorite blanket. I know I had favorite pillowcases, so I wanted to make sure I kept those pillowcases. And certain pillows I wanted to keep. If it takes up emotional space, get rid of it. And that was something that I really was anxious to do. So many items in my life, in my home, were taking up emotional space. And it was hurtful when I looked at the items because it brought back certain memories. And I didn't want those memories anymore. I wanted to look forward, not backwards. Give things to your children now. Don't think in terms of, when they're married and have children, they'll probably want that high chair. Give it to them now. Start small. It's emotional. Make the process meaningful and celebrate along the way. Choose items as you declutter that reflect who we are now, not who we used to be. I love that. The things that I brought with me, I wanted them to reflect, to be the kind of item that made me feel like who I am now, not who I used to be. Choose freedom. I love that. So those are just some little tidbits, some little ahas from the video that I watched. And I'll put her information down below this video so that if you want to watch her and watch this video, I think you'll enjoy it.